As simple as this chapter was, I wholeheartedly enjoyed it. I feel like there was a lot of great things that were played upon that didn't necessarily have to be played upon. The first half of this chapter specifically focuses on a handful of characters more so just filling in their own perspective, their feelings, and how they somewhat connect previous things that we've known or witnessed into the future and stuff that can be played upon more efficiently. But it also actually gives you a bit of a time frame, understanding where exactly this Mahito and Yuji fight took place and where everyone was prior to it, like Todo and the healer that came into play, and how originally Todo was looking for Gojo, and he realized that Ghetto actually disappeared before Yuji and Mahito even started fighting, or at least when they just started. So that paints a better picture for you on how Todo actually found Yuji and why he rocked up to begin with. He was going to go for Gojo, Gojo wasn't there, so he went to go help his allies, and the first person he came across was obviously Yuji. You also get a situation with Panda and Kusakabe, I believe his name was, and there's something very interesting about this that I'm really excited to see the somewhat ripple effect for. Kusakabe is very adamant in not forgiving Yuji, or at least the destruction behind Sukuna's actions, which is very understandable. Sukuna has gone above and beyond in this arc, and there's a lot of bits and pieces within this chapter that reflect the amount of death, destruction, and collateral damage that Sukuna has caused. It's not just something that will be breezed past and nothing will come from it. No consequences will happen. If anything, Kusakabe directly reflects that idea once again that we originally had towards Yuji, that people will want to kill him because Sukuna is there, and that because Sukuna has come out once again and has caused mass destruction, they have no trust or understanding towards how Yuji will work, so they will want to get him out of the picture. At this point, it's not even going to be because they want to kill Sukuna. It's going to be because they don't want Sukuna to come out and destroy this economic crisis once again. It's kind of interesting how Kusakabe is used as this person to bring this information across, so I'm very curious if he is going to be the one that spearheads the whole operation, if he's going to give this information to the respective people that are going to take the next big steps to try and capture Yuji, which may also retroactively bring Kusakabe back into the spotlight and make him a more prominent character. Even though it was super simple, it directly links to the next situation that we get with Mayumi, as we find out what actually happened with her, because she was originally going up against Ghetto. There's a lot of curiosity and mystery here. Mayumi has always been a very back and forth type of character. I think a lot of people have been sus on her since the beginning on whether or not she would be a traitor or someone that most likely just plays for herself. She doesn't really care about anyone else other than herself and her little brother, and she's also heavily addicted to money. We rarely seen the Ghetto fight, if at all, and it turns out she managed to survive completely, and suddenly she's in Malaysia thanks to her little brother's ability, which is still somewhat unknown, but you could probably boil it down to being some sort of teleportation. The real question behind that is if the intention was actually good or more so just trying to escape. Mind you, she could have escaped and helped more people, but that's not necessarily up her alley, nor is it something that she's even been perpetuated as. She's very conniving, very secretive, and she's currently just relaxing in a bed with no worries whatsoever. But she also brings in this economic crisis once again, and the stock market absolutely plummeting within Japan because of this Shibuya event, which directly links back to Kusakabe, which links back to Yuji and Sukuna, and politics getting more involved. Getting rid of Sukuna because of the political impact and the economic impact he actually creates if he comes out and destroys and disrupts everything. The big lingering question with her is, if she's playing for herself, did she make a deal with Ghetto? If she's playing for money, did she make a deal with Ghetto? It's something that I wouldn't necessarily put past her doing, and I'm very interested to see if we play on that a lot further. She's inherently connected with profiting from something, and she is profiting from the Shibuya event, somewhat in the form of insider trading. But how she disconnected from the Ghetto fight? Was it because of a deal she made with Ghetto, maybe supplying him money, because of how intelligent she also is to save her own skin? Or did she just genuinely disappear from the battlefield because of her little brother's abilities? Hopefully, in time, we get more information for that. And her character is very interesting in how she sits very weirdly in this morally grey area and plays her own side. There was also a nice brief moment with Chozo, and I'm surprised we actually got to see more of him. Honestly, I didn't think we would. But one of the more impressive things with Chozo is his future. Humanoid curses seem to act very differently, and the only one we technically know of is Mahito. Chozo being the second one, but also going through these mental hurdles of self-internalization, seeing Yuji in his memories and being somewhat shocked by it. He's questioning things. He's questioning what Yuji is specifically, but he's also questioning what he is. How did he come to exist? When you self-internalize like that, you come to the point of somewhat realization. What am I? How did I come to exist? How can I evolve from here? What can I become? What am I capable of? If you haven't already noticed, Chozo and Mahito are blurring the line between curse and human to the point where honestly you wouldn't be able to tell. These are curses that are extremely dangerous because their growth and their potential is inherently deep. And if they're left to do whatever they please, they could become a very powerful and prominent anomaly that are going to be very difficult to defeat. But if they're harnessed and cultivated, they could thrive within a completely different direction. It sounds weird, but think of the possibility of Chozo befriending Yuji, even working towards that direction where curses and humans can somewhat coexist. If they could take that first massive step, maybe a future like that would be possible. Maybe things could be different. The final half of this chapter is something that I absolutely loved. Not only do we get to see the conclusion of the Yuji versus Mahito fight, we also get to see a very massive chunk of Ghetto. And funny enough, it's a side of him that we actually haven't seen before. One that produces fear and power and dominance. He's been so sly and subtle throughout the entirety of the narrative, but now he's coming out and showing what he truly can do. And mind you, this isn't his full capabilities, because there's a lot of questionable things and even statements within what Ghetto says that makes me think that we haven't seen the true potential of what Ghetto was capable of within the moments now, but also prior. Because the first thing we see is Yuji get absolutely obliterated by two rather normal curses. I say normal because they're not some unique relic, top of the line type grade curses, but they're also not the bottom of the barrel. They're definitely powerful. One of them is a catfish that resembles an earthquake, and people feared that the earthquakes being caused was because of this catfish. And you can see it within the panel. It has like a little eye and a whisker and it opens up a massive mouth below Yuji, so it seems and feels like he's falling, but in reality there's nothing there. Ghetto then pulls out another curse at the same time that completely obliterates Yuji again, and this is the worst shape we have seen him in. Through all the fights he has been through throughout this arc, Ghetto in a matter of 30 seconds of meeting Yuji has pulled out two curses, not even the most powerful ones, and has demolished him beyond belief. It's surprising that Yuji is still somewhat capable of being awake at the moment. You would think he'd be knocked out or even killed, which also surprises Ghetto, but also at the same time Sukuna's vessel and how much Yuji has trained and evolved throughout the experiences. He's come a really long way. Mahito, however, is playing by his own game, and there's always been this very odd and fickle tension between both of them, as they have been working with one another, but you could tell that the power difference between them and the ideologies were different. They both upheld themselves differently, they both wanted different things, and Mahito seems like a type of character and person or individual that does not like to be constricted or molded against his will. If anything, it goes directly against his character. So even in the lowest of lowest moments right now, after being defeated by Yuji, he tries to kill Ghetto, and obviously this doesn't work. Ghetto, being the intelligent individual he is and knowing the people that he's working with, probably realized at some point Mahito would try and do this, or any curse that he worked with would try and do this, and Mahito pays the price for it. He gets sealed away in a little Pokemon ball, completely morphed and restricted, similar to how Mahito himself transfigures the souls of individuals. Ghetto does the exact same thing to him and puts him in a little ball. This does not mean Mahito is dead. If anything, he'll either become a weapon or a tool for Ghetto to use or come out later within the future. This is a turning point for Kaisen, and Mahito and Ghetto are going to be the biggest players that shape and change this new and expanding world. a world without Satoru Gojo, which is a very scary thing to think about. How does this world look? Who are the massive players that are taking control? Who can actually stop these powerful curses if they come out to play? There may be and is powerful shamans, but none that can uphold the balance as good as Gojo. The only person that comes into mind so effortlessly is Yuta, but even then, there is a reference here to him. The person or thing that is within Ghetto's body somewhat implies that Ghetto went easy on Yuta and let himself be killed to a portional degree. That the fight could have gone a completely different way, which makes me believe that Ghetto wasn't willing to fight Yuta like that. And that's not to belittle or devalue Yuta and the power that he has, because he's extremely prominent, but it makes a lot of sense that Ghetto wasn't so enclosed within the mindset that he was built upon, that he was only leading into it. He wasn't willing to kill and obliterate and massacre his own friends for it. This Ghetto that we are seeing now, I believe, is what he was truly always capable of. The amount of power and curses that he can wield, and how he can change the balance of a battlefield so effortlessly and so quickly. There's a lot of scary things that he could have, and I'm extremely excited to see the conversation he has with Yuji and about the new world. How long does Gojo stay sealed away? What happens with Mahito? What about Chozo? What about the repercussions for Sukuna coming out to play? What about Yuji's mental state? There's so many incredible things that we're about to witness that completely change and evolve Jujutsu Kaisen. And I, for one, am more than excited to see how it all unravels. So with that being said, let me know how you felt about the chapter. What was your favorite moment? How do you feel about Ghetto, Yuji, Mei, Mahito? Where do you think the story of Jujutsu Kaisen is going to go from here? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Drink plenty of water, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.